Hi, this is Amber from the A-Team, and we are going to talk about your Chromebooks and specifically the difference between apps and extensions and what you can do with those. So if you're on our Google Apps Support page, on the Chromebook page, which can be found under For Staff and Chromebooks, this is a page that kind of is a launching pad for what you can do with your Chromebooks. We're going to talk about some of the things on this page, but first of all, we're going to talk about apps and extensions. So let's talk about apps first. You know, on your laptop or desktop computer, you usually have to have a media specialist or a technician install software that lives on that device. Well, Chromebooks have what are called web applications or web apps, and these apps actually are not associated specifically to the device, but are associated with your Chrome web account. So I can go from Chromebook to Chromebook to Chromebook, and if I've installed an application, it will follow me to all those devices when I log in with my G Suite account. So where do you find the applications? Well, on the bottom left-hand corner, we kind of talked about this in navigating your Chromebook, but we didn't specifically talk about applications. But if you go to the bottom left-hand corner and click on the circle, this is your launcher, and it will list recently used apps on the front, but you can also click on all apps and get to the longer list of applications. And you can see this list can grow quite long as you're adding more applications. Now, some of these applications are pushed from the Google Apps Administrator, and some of these are ones that I've added to my account. So there's different types of applications, but they're all basically the same individual applications that are like small pieces of software that live in the cloud. So I have several different apps here. And these are ones that I can add new applications to. And I'll talk about how to add new ones in just a moment. But just so you remember, applications are going to live in this application launcher. Extensions are tiny little applications that live at the top of your Chrome browser. So Chrome extensions are little pieces of software that work within the browser and usually have very specific pointed purposes. It may be an extension that allows you to annotate on a PDF, or an extension that allows you to add something to your Google Classroom quickly while in your browser. So extensions, again, live at the top, and you'll notice the more extensions you have, the more little tiny icons that you have across the top. So let's talk about how do I get new ones, or how do I try them out. So what you'll want to do is click on your launcher, and in your launcher, you should see a shortcut to something called Web Store. So the Chrome Web Store is going to have those apps and extensions that you want to try. So I'm going to click on the Web Store. Once that Web Store loads, you'll notice that on the left-hand side, I have the ability to search specifically for extensions, specifically for apps. So here are extensions, and here are apps. And I'm going to go ahead and start with apps. If I'm on the app portion of the Chrome Web Store, at the top you'll see some that have been featured. You might see some new and updated applications. But what I like to do is I like to come down to categories and actually narrow my category if I don't know specifically what I'm going to be looking for. And if this is your first time in the web store, you may have no idea what you're looking for. So I'm going to go to education, and there's some academic resources. There's teacher and admin tools. I'm going to go to teacher and admin tools for a little bit. And this is going to pull up tools that are specifically categorized for teachers to use as teacher tools. So in this list of apps, let's say I go and I can look down the list. When you find one that you like, so here's this Prodigy math game, I can click on it, and what it's going to do is open up this little pop-up box that shows me an overview. You'll notice there's images. Sometimes there are videos in this little list that you can watch to get some more information about the application. You have access to reviews, so you can see other people's response to this application. I highly recommend reading reviews because a lot of times you can learn right away if something is worth it or not. You can also see a review summary at the top. Then you also have the ability to see some related apps. Now, once you've looked at this application, and if this is something that you like, you can click Add to Chrome. So Add to Chrome is going to actually add it to my application launcher if it's an app. So I'm going to close this for a minute, though, because I want to show you how to search for an application in your Chrome Web Store. I'm going to go up to the top, and I know there is an app that I want to try called Duolingo. So I can search for Duolingo, and this is why I wanted to show you how to do a search. You notice there are categories here. Here's an extension category, here's an app category, so it's divided into categories. So if I do a search and I only want to see apps, I'm going to click on apps so that it's going to narrow it down and only show me the apps related to my search. Or I can just clear that and know to look in the apps section. But I'm going to go ahead and click apps because I want to make sure that I'm looking at apps. Now this is my Duolingo app, and there's a blue button here that says Add to Chrome, and if I've already looked at the reviews, I know this is the one I want. I'm going to click on Add to Chrome. It's going to ask me for permission to add this to my launcher, so I'm going to say add. You'll notice at the bottom left there was a quick little install that it did on the bottom left hand corner, and now I already have added across. So it puts this little green banner that says you've already done it, and now it gives the ability to rate it if I'd like, and sometimes that's really helpful. So if you have time to go back and rate apps, that's very helpful for other people who are looking for good applications to use. Now I'm going to go to my launcher. And in my launcher, because I just installed it, I will see that there's my Duolingo app that's been added. Now, I didn't have to do a software approval. I did not have to have a technician or media specialist install this for me. I was able to do that myself because this is actually installing it to my account, not specifically to this device. Now, if you like your application, to access it, you're just going to click on it. It'll open it up. Sometimes it opens in a separate window. Sometimes it opens to a website page. They operate very differently. One thing that you'll want to note is that some applications are just shortcuts, basically, to the website, and they're not standalone applications. They actually just go to the web, but that's why they're called web applications. So this particular one is pretty much like a shortcut to a website, but it does make it really fast when I need to access it, that I can go straight here. Now, the more applications that you have on your device, of course, that's going to use the space on your device. So you'll want to make sure that you only leave installed applications that you're really going to use. So let's say you tried this app and it's just not your thing. You just don't like it. It didn't do what you wanted it to do. Don't just leave it there. Let's get rid of it and make room for something that you do want. So I'm going to use the 2-finger tap gesture, which is the right click, and I can actually remove this from Chrome. Now this particular app is one I love, so I'm not saying it's not good, I'm just showing you how to do this. But once you click remove from Chrome, it says, are you sure? And then you can click remove, and it's gone from your launcher, and you'll notice that my search is still up here. That green banner is gone as well. So you have the ability to add and remove apps, to give them a try, see if you like them, and then take them off if you don't. A lot of people will download a lot and they'll forget to go back and remove things, but do remove things so that it doesn't slow down your device. So those are apps. They live in your app launcher. So now let's take a look at extensions. Extensions are little things that have very specific purposes, and again, they live at the top of your browser, and we're going to look at how to find some specific extensions that you may enjoy. So now let's go back to the Chrome Web Store main page, and let's look at extensions. You'll notice that's selected there. Once extensions are selected, you'll see again some featured, some ability to kind of scroll down and look. And sometimes I like to look through these if they're ones that I may not even know to search for. But if you know the category that you want to try to use, for extensions, we don't have that education category. I wish we did, but we do not. We do, however, have, I'm going to go to productivity. You can select free to make sure that you're only seeing ones that are free. So there are lots of different ones that you can choose from. So I have an extension that I really like called Cami. So let's say that I haven't downloaded this extension yet. And so I'm going to search for Cami. You'll notice again that there are categories here. I want to make sure that I'm finding the extension that's Cami. So here I am, I've got extensions selected, and here's this extension. Just like apps, you can open it up, you get that pop-up box, you get your little things at the top. Again, you may have a video that you can watch, some reviews, that type of thing. From here, you also can see if it operates offline, if it's compatible with your device, if it works with Google Drive or not, and some other information. But I know this is the one that I want because I saw it demonstrated before. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add to Chrome. Now it's going to give me that pop-up again to see if that's really what I want. And because it's an extension, you may have to look at some permissions. And this is telling me that this particular extension is going to be able to read and change data on any website I visit. It's going to display some notifications, and it's going to communicate with other websites. If I'm okay with that extension doing those things with my account, then I can click Add Extension. That's sort of you giving permission. Notice it's downloading on the bottom right-hand corner. I'm not having to click on anything. It's downloading itself. It's installing itself. Once it's installed, this happened to open up to the Cami page, but what I want you to see is in the top right hand corner, I now have the little K icon for this particular extension. So anytime that I'm on another website, if I wanted to get to this Cami extension, I would just go here and click, and it's going to take me right there. So other extensions, like for example the Google Classroom extension, if I were on a page that I wanted to send to my classroom, for example, if I'm on this page and I want to send it to my students, I can go to my Share to Classroom extension. It brings up all my classrooms. I don't have to go out to Google Classroom and do anything. It just did it itself. And I can find the classroom and use it that way. These extensions are just things that are going to make your life easier. You can pile up those extensions, and they get pretty wild the more that you have, and there's even an extension to manage extensions. But what you'll want to do is try out the extension. If you like it, leave it. If you don't like it, you're going to want to remove it, because the more extensions you have, you can slow down the loading of your browser. If you want to remove one, you can go to the kebab or corn dog menu. You're going to go down to More Tools, and you're going to choose Extensions. Now this is going to bring up a tab that has all your extensions on it. You'll notice you have some options. You do have a little options box with some of yours, but what I'm talking about are options on the right where you can actually disable an app. And you'll notice when I did that, disabled Announcify, it removed the little red bird from my top. This doesn't uninstall it. This just disables it temporarily because maybe I want to use it again in a couple weeks. It's one I don't use all the time and I don't need it there all the time. You can actually enable and disable it. You can also delete an extension. So if there's an extension that you've tried and you really don't like it, you can actually delete that extension. And I would highly recommend deleting any that you really don't want to use. So if there's one you don't like, simply click on the trash can icon and that actually uninstalls it. So you would have to download it again, go to the web store and download it again if you wanted to add it back. But again, those extensions can kind of eat up some of your real estate at the top, but they can also slow down your device. So really only use extensions that you're going to want to really use. So we talked about removing extensions. We also talked about removing apps. I do also want to show you a neat feature that you can use for apps, not extensions, because extensions are already quickly up at the top of your browser. But sometimes I'm somewhere else and I want to get to an app quickly, and I don't want to have to go to the app launcher and go to all apps and go to the third page of the apps. I want to just get to it quickly. So you do have the ability to take one of the apps from your launcher and actually put it down here in your quick start bar on the bottom. I can go and do the 2-finger tap, which is the right click, and I can pin it to the shelf on the bottom, or quicker than that, I can just drag it and drop it to the bottom, and then it's actually on the bottom, always there. So no matter what I have up, I can just click there and get there quickly. If you wanted to remove it from the shelf, you can do the right click again and unpin, and it takes it away. But that's another way that you can quickly add it to the bottom. And again, all these changes I'm doing are specific to your account. So if I go to a different Chromebook and log in, I'm still going to have the options that I left with. So this is fantastic because you won't have to worry about all these software approvals and people coming to install it for you. You're customizing this account to work for you. Now, all of these things that we've been talking about is as a staff member. Students can go to the Chrome Web Store, but they can only download applications and extensions that have been approved by Henderson County. So if you are wanting to see what applications and extensions have already been approved for Henderson County students, you'll want to go to that Chromebook page we were on. You'll want to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and there's a section called Apps and Extensions. The first link gets you to an approved apps and extensions list. This list contains all of the apps and extensions that are already approved by Henderson County Public Schools for students to download and install. So if it's on this list, they can go to the Chrome Web Store and install it themselves. Perhaps there's an app or an extension that's not on this list that you want to use with students. That being the case, there's a link to a form at the top of this list, as well as a link here on this page to request an app for approval. If you want to have an app approved for students, you will want to get the exact name of the application as it appears in the web store. You're going to enter your name, choose your school, add your email address, and put the name exactly as it appears in the web store and hit submit. This will go to the Google Apps Administrator, where they will look at the application or extension to make sure it's appropriate for students. If it is appropriate, they will open it up and put it into the available portion of the Chrome Web Store for students, so then they could go and download that extension or that app themselves and begin to use it. So if there are some that you really want to make sure students have access to, please make sure that you check this list first. If it's not there, please fill out the request for approval so that we can get that app or extension in the store for your students and make sure that they can start customizing their Chrome web app and extension experience.